Hi, Trisha. Hello, how are you?
Good, e-
Good
good
afternoon. Yeah,
evening.
yeah. Thank you so much to be
Yeah, it's
my
lovely to
guest.
meet you.
Yeah, and I also received some of the message from the people that hey, they are very looking forward for these LinkedIn Live because they can learn some more video interviews. Because nowadays a lot of companies are using that. You have to learn something, right? Yeah, so guys, if you have any questions, your last minute question you want us to ask, so please leave your comments and then let me know maybe where are you connecting from, what's your time zone. So we look forward to help you and provide some more values to you. Yeah. So just any tips or maybe you just introduce yourself, right? Because I obviously know that you are a professional CV
Sure.
writer, but then when I go through your profile, then you start off as a nurse, and then you have offers in Australia and Dubai, so it's quite interesting. So maybe tell me more how to be, more impressive CVs.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So first of all, thank you so much for hosting me. It's absolutely great to meet other people like-minded in this
Yeah.
business and share networking. So it's really fantastic. And yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm Trisha Chapman. I'm the managing partner of Impressive CV, which is a professional profiling company. I'm based in Dubai, but I've got staff actually scattered throughout the world. So Indonesia, Australia, and Dubai. I'm a nurse originally, as you said. So I did my master's in critical care nursing and then moved to Dubai about 4.5 years ago for
Wow.
nursing. And then, to be honest with you, I did trauma nursing here. It was horrific. So I had an industry change and got into this, grew my business, expanded it, and I guess now here I am.
Yeah, great. So, as you have medical background, what do you think about this coronavirus thing, and how does it impact to the job seekers right now? Yeah, is it much better right now?
I can't hear you.
Oh, but I but I can still hear you.
I can't hear you. I can't hear
Oh, okay,
anything.
okay. Do you want to reconnect?
I'm not sure if it's
Okay, so there's some technical issues, and there's always something like this. So, guys, if you are doing video interviews, make sure that you need to prepare, you need to test run with your friends, and basically the videos, the audios is all very important. And so let's just wait a few minutes for Trista to come back. So Trista has very interesting background, as she said. So starting off as a nurse and then comes to Dubai, maybe perhaps with her husband, and then she tried to learn some more about recruitment, and then what she do is provide her knowledge, her skills, expertise, her passion to help people to write better CVs, and then now she has a business right now in Dubai and also in Australia, and so he also have a team of like 4 people, so that is so great. Hey, you're back.
Hey, sorry, I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe because it's peak time in Dubai for the internet. Everyone is online now.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So I just try to introduce some more about your background and then telling people that the
Sure.
importance for video and audio in the video interviews.
Absolutely. I guess this is real life. This happens. So
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problems.
Yeah. So, any quick tips for people? I mean, yeah. But, before that, I forgot the last question I asked is about because you have a medical background. So, what do you think about coronavirus and how does it impact maybe your business or your candidates or anything? What do you think?
Yeah, sure. So definitely, I think globally there's going to be huge issues, and it's probably not as heightened as what it really is. I think everyone is thinking short term, but really the effects are going to be quite long term. So everyone definitely needs to be prepared for long term in terms of layoffs and many job cuts. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that no companies are hiring. There's
Hmm.
definitely going to be jobs available. It just means again that you need to have a strong digital presence. So the
Mm,
likes of personal websites or LinkedIn
mm.
or your even your resume ready to go if an opportunity arises.
Mm. So today's topic, because it's talking about digital interviews and how you impress your hiring managers. So for me, digital interviews. Why not just saying that video interviews, or I don't know, is it include phone interviews or include some website for assessment tests or anything? Why digital interviews that you mean?
So first of all, there's 3 different types of interviews. So you can have a phone interview, you
Mm-hmm.
can have a one-way digital interview, or a two-way digital
Mm-hmm.
interview. So I'll just touch on briefly. Telephone interviews are not too common these days because the likes of video
Mm-hmm.
conferencing is rapidly evolved. So no matter where you are in the world, you can probably connect visually. One-way digital interviews, what that means is the employer sends you a list of questions or maybe some statements that they would like you to answer,
Mm-hmm.
and you physically just have to reply. It's not
Mm.
a two-way chat. So it's preset, and you would have to upload the video.
Yeah,
Versus
using
a
using
two-way
an app.
interview
Yeah,
is what we're doing.
yeah, using an app. Yeah, sorry, please continue.
It's okay, yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I mean, for the pre-recorded, you can send a video or simply use an app, and then you can upload that, and then the hiring managers can select that and leave comments, and then the all HR process behind that. So that's something new. And then as you mentioned about phone interviews, that's not common. So maybe let's drill down to video interviews. Yeah, it's more people concerned about that. You can do it in Skype, you can do it in Zoom, you can do it in, I don't know, Hangouts or WhatsApp call, whatever, right? So what kind of advice that you can provide to candidates?
Definitely. So first of all, find out what platform you're going to be using, because you want to be familiar with it. You don't want to be doing last minute stresses or hassles of how to actually work or drive the platform. So find out which one they're going to be using it, and you can test it with a friend to make sure that you are completely comfortable with it. Make sure your connection issues, your volume, exactly what we have tested before in real life, so it's a smooth process and it doesn't make you nervous before the interview. That would definitely be my first tip. Making sure that you have got the right lighting so that the interviewer
Mhm.
can see you, because facial expressions, even though it's a digital interview, it's still important to be able to get your facial expressions and what you're thinking across. And likewise, you want to be able to try to read what the interviewer is also coming across as.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. In Hong Kong, our house is very small, right? So everything is messy. It's just my door, right? So I just try to be plain and everything white background, everything. That's good, right? Avoid the distraction is very important.
Absolutely, definitely. And like the likes of like young kids, we've all got families, but
Yeah.
it's just important to make sure that during that interview period, make sure it's distraction free, because you don't want to be losing your train of thought when it's something really important to master.
Yeah, you need to talk to your family first. But sometimes, I don't know, for example, the pets, right? You can't say don't bark, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But that's fine. The interviewer would know that we're all humans at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, and you also, because we've been communicating before that for this live, you also mentioned about the internet connections, and also you have to speak like slowly because it's very important, right? Sometimes the internet just, as you mentioned about, maybe it's a peak hour in Dubai, so sometimes you can't really deliver that sentence or message. So if you speak slowly, or I don't know, emphasize on something, then that'll be good, right?
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. It's really important to speak a little bit more slowly than when you're on a digital interview than in real life. Also, because sometimes there could be a delay. So you
Yeah.
want to counter these effects to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible, and you can portray your achievements and your value to the organization the best you can be.
Okay. So any other tips that I think you also mentioned two more, right?
So I guess in terms of interviews in general, it's really, really important to research the company. So no
Yeah.
matter what type of interview you're going for, you want to make sure that you know the company objectives or mission statements, maybe some recent projects that they have undertaken, or even future projects they're going. So then you can, and this is like a common conversation you can have, or you could answer the questions confidently so that you know, or they know that you know.
Yeah, exactly. So this is also I will tell my students or candidates that it's just as the same as the face-to-face interviews. We just like now we're sitting each other in a room or something, right? So what we do is actually the same thing, but just the medium is different. So we just through virtual, meetings and communications. Yeah. So I agree with you. And what else should we prepare or we can do to research for the companies?
So jump on their website, have a look on their LinkedIn profiles, view the employees or employers within the
Yeah.
company itself, get a feel for the company culture. I also would encourage everyone to have a look at the job description and the key skills that the company is asking for, so that when you are discussing your interview or when you're meeting the team, whether it's face-to-face or again in a Zoom meeting, that you can list or highlight these skills, that pretending that you already have them, but you know what the job or the company is asking for. So if you start listing them or discussing them in your conversations or in the answers, it's because you've done your homework. You know what the company is looking for. So start using some common words that they've already included in the job description.
Okay, yeah, that's good advice. So, do you also recommend people to, because I heard that many people say revise the series, tailor-made for every company. There's a list or ideal. So, do you also help them to revise the series, or do you recommend they do that for every companies?
Yeah, so it's time consuming, but I definitely recommend for every single application that you're going for, make sure that you write a CV that's tailored for that application. I'll tell you why, because I'm not sure in your region, but we have a lot of screening tools. So a lot of
Mm,
ATS. I'm not sure if you've heard that, of applicant tracking software or system,
yeah,
if it's in
yeah,
Hong
the
Kong.
scope, yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's probably industry standard internationally, but it's a computer that reads the resume. So if you don't have keywords from the
Mm.
job description listed on your resume, you're not shortlisted. So to be the best match possible, you need to make sure that you've got common phrases, common words, skills for every application.
Okay, yeah, that's important. So that is why we need to hire you or hire a professional writer because they know that you can use a job description and then maybe I have an interview with you and then I know your skills, your achievements, and then combine it, boom, then you will be a perfect resume, right?
Yeah, if you can, and I really encourage everyone to try to start recording or writing down things that you have achieved or accomplished throughout your career. So maybe every month or every quarter, document somewhere things that you initiated or you did above and beyond your job description. So when the time comes that you do have to write a resume or you want to go for a promotion or you see a nice opportunity elsewhere, it's not as difficult to recall what you achieved or what value you brought to that organization.
Yeah, yeah, always it's like a self-reflections and then you know your strengths and then whenever you do interviews then you just present that maybe yeah you have your story to tell and then you prepare to tell people about your previous achievements so that's very useful. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I was also going to mention, I'm not sure if you talk much about this in your content, but the use of an elevator pitch.
Oh,
So I
okay.
guess when you first walk in or when you meet the people, you're handshaking or you're having small talk down to the interview room, make sure that when you sit down for the interview or you open the camera to have the digital streaming, that you know exactly what you're going to tell the employer about yourself.
Yeah, that's important because we don't have the handshake right now. And so we need to know whether you're passionate, right? And then I think that usually for video interviews, then it will become I mean shorter version, right? For example, if it's face to face, then I need to wait for the reception, wait at the reception, and then all together maybe 1 hour. But then video interviews normally is like 30 minutes or so. So we need to squeeze that content, right?
Yes, exactly. So I guess it's really important. You could probably even put something just behind the camera so you can refer to some notes. For example, if you've written down their mission statement or your elevator pitch, don't put it word for word, but you can put key dots, like literally just behind your camera, so that you can refer to it in the digital interviews.
Yeah, exactly. And perhaps you have to prepare your CVs as well, right, in your desk. So sometimes when I ask about that, hey, I already prepared something.
Exactly. You don't want to look like you're reading from the script right in front of you, rehearsing, but you can casually just drop some of the sentences in.
Yeah, yeah. So any other tips? Because I think during the coronavirus, so every company is very conscious. The hiring process is really, really slow. And so and also, doing video interviews, we don't it seems like we don't know the process. We don't know how to follow up. So anything you can advise or you can give your suggestions?
Definitely. So, unfortunately, due to these times, I'm sure everyone is aware, but there's definitely a hiring freeze on. There's not
Mm,
many visas being processed. There's not many clarity of where the organizations are going, which means everything's slow. And recruiters can't reply because they don't know even from the company perspective either. So, I would definitely recommend creating a simple Excel sheet. In one column, list all of the jobs that you have applied for, the date, and the contact person if you've got it. You can jump on LinkedIn and then go and drop them an inbox or an email, and then make sure that you track who you have contacted and when. So then in maybe 3 or 4 weeks time, you can refer back to that sheet and then remember or have documentation of who you've already reached out to. It's
okay,
going to
that's
take
very
time,
useful.
but yeah, but like around 3 weeks is a good time to follow up.
Okay, okay. But do I also follow? I mean, normally we follow up after the interviews, maybe within 12 hours or something. But if I keep follow up, so I don't really hear any feedback. So what should we do?
So do you mean directly after the interview?
Yeah, after interviews, and then maybe I do some more follow-ups, but then I don't have any response right now.
Yeah, so I feel your pain. In fact, it's so many job seekers, but definitely just keep trying. Look at different avenues. You've got the actual company website. At the end of the interview, make sure you get a contact detail. It's really important to make sure that you understand at the end of the interview what the follow-up process would be. So I'd recommend it's your responsibility at the end of the interview to know this. Make sure you get a contact person. So don't leave the interview without knowing their full name and details of who was actually interviewing you. Okay? You should have at least their email and LinkedIn if you can get it, or even their receptionist, someone to at least follow up. You can write a nice message to them the following day to say thank you for the fantastic interview. I really look forward to a fruitful business relationship moving forward, something standard like this. And then wait and see if you get a reply from this follow-up communication.
Yeah, exactly. Even though maybe video interviews, I can ask your email. Can you spell it? I can still write it down, right? It's okay to do
Absolutely,
so.
absolutely. If you don't learn
Yeah.
anything from tonight's session, I think that's probably the hot tip. Get the interviewer's details.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So is that how about the Dubai's market? Because I heard that Dubai, maybe I don't know. I think every country is affected, but how about Dubai or Australia? Maybe yeah. Is there any um, market was still okay, or any business nature or
Yeah.
industry is still okay?
Yep. So at the minute, there's no new visas being processed, which means that you have to already be in the country on a freelance
Oh,
at the moment. However, the companies that are hiring are the likes of medical device companies.
mm,
So like Johnson and Johnson, Becton
yeah.
Dickinson, 3M, like this. pharmaceuticals, and then like your grocery stores or logistics within the country itself. So it's difficult. You can't obviously enter the country itself. So yeah, there's not much. You're not going to get a visa if you're not already here.
Okay.
What?
Retail.
Yeah, so I
So
think it's the same thing. Yeah.
Have a look at like the Amazon, these types of companies that are going to be in high demand because everyone's purchasing things online.
Yeah. Zoom, everything, their stock price go crazy. So IT is still okay, yeah. But of course, maybe retail and tourism, airlines, then definitely maybe you need to think about it later.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I mean it's not impossible. And I think it's important to note that even if you are made redundant or unemployed and you do get a job that's out of your normal sector, once things start to get better, you can move back. It's not going to be an issue. And you can explain this on your CV due to COVID-19, or
Yeah.
these are my transferable skills. So it's not hindering you if you change profession for the short term.
Okay. Yeah, regarding about the CV, maybe you are the expert. So, for example, I just have a question. Hey, a lot of people ask me, so do I need to write a 1 page, 2 page, or 4 page CVs? I think my CVs is so long. So, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, definitely. So I would recommend that your CV should be 2.5, maximum 3 pages long if you have over 15 years experience. I would definitely be recommending that you have an executive summary at the top, skills or core competencies, your working history, and then making sure that that's 5 to 6 maximum bullet points under that working history, and you write them in past tense. You can add some achievements with numbers and metrics. For example, you overachieved your sales budget by 13% by implementing strategic initiatives. And then you want to obviously make sure that your education is included, and any professional development courses that you have done. But recruiters, literally, they're not, or hiring managers, they don't want to be, like, time is money for them.
Yeah, they only have 7 seconds, right? Or is a genius than 1 minute for you?
Yeah.
Well, how about
exactly.
how to describe that employment gap if I just unlucky that I was terminated and so is it just say COVID-19?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So what I would recommend is, and I get a lot of these questions. So put your job title, the hiring manager, or the company title, the year that you started and the month, so the date, and then you can say termination date due to COVID-19, or made redundant, COVID-19 brackets, or company restructure. So definitely, if you list it, people are aware of the situation. It's not because of your own fault.
Yeah, understand. That's very important because I have as I said, a lot of inbox message. They say I already sent out 1,000 CVs. I already searching for jobs for 6 months, 9 months. So it's good. I would say maybe an excuse or something. So COVID-19 is also we all understand. So we just will give some more chances. Maybe let you give you a try for more interviews or something. So that's really good suggestions and helpful.
Definitely good. But I definitely want to make sure that people are aware that it's really important to have a strong CV or LinkedIn because of this. So just because you're made redundant, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get a job again. You need to make sure that you showcase your best, your best talents. So be ready.
Yeah. Do you also review or rewrite the LinkedIn as well? Because CV and LinkedIn, what's the difference?
Yeah, good question. In fact, I run this in my workshops. So think about it, LinkedIn as the umbrella. So you've got generalized terminology. You don't need to go into detail or into great depths of your achievements in terms of numbers, metrics, the volumes of work that you did. It's umbrella wording. And also you can upload your CV onto the the back end where they're the easy appliers, you can have 4 different types of resumes. So this section is where you want the CV to be extremely detailed and showcasing what you have done from a value point of view, whereas LinkedIn sort of responsibilities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, CV is more, I would say, your whole professional documents, but LinkedIn is still a static, and then it's live document. You can change it anytime. So it's a little bit different, more social media type. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like obviously your graphics, you want to be more generic on your LinkedIn versus your resume is really honing down on the key skills and core foundations that you offer.
Yeah. So that's why you can pass through the ATS, the systems. Yeah,
Yes.
interesting. Because our topics should be, how to how to use the digital interviews that impress your high managers, and then we're still talking about your CV expert thing.
Oh, no, we can easily switch the conversation, but I will be guided by you, my friend.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Just yeah, it's interesting because we all want to know more about the CV. CV is more important because if you don't have a good CV, then maybe you don't have an interview, right? You need the CV to get through the door first, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to have an impressive CV
Yeah,
to get.
and then and then to impress the hiring managers through the digital interviews right now. So I also have one quick tips, right? So just now I'm using a laptop, then just don't shrink like these, and then you have to be eye level, and this is very important to angles, right? You're not doing taking a pictures or something, right?
Absolutely, yes. So I definitely recommend that you have a good lighting. Have a drink of water next to you so that if you do get dry, because you're probably going to be talking quite a lot, it's okay to have a drink. You've got the camera right at eye level. You can probably see in me, it's like my shoulder and up. You don't need to be having your full body. I would really advise not having the camera angle coming upwards. It's just more impressive, more attractive. You're more visually appealing to the interviewer when you've got exactly how I am.
Yeah. So any other things that you need to say in interviews? Is it only about the your achievements, or because we heard about the star models for the competence-based questions? It's quite tough to answer. So anything that the candidates can prepare before that?
Yeah, sure. So I definitely recommend practice. So practice. Be ready for any question that they ask you. Whenever you are given a question of how to explain the situation that you are in, for example, conflict management, or explain a situation where you did XYZ, it's really, really important to be making sure that you explain the situation that you were in. What type of involvements, or maybe the others around you, and then give the story, explain a story that so that the interviewer has a clear picture in their mind of exactly what was happening. So if they don't grasp the full situation, they can't understand the impact that you had as a result of it. Yeah, so you always want to be as well
Yeah.
showing the results that you delivered as a result of your actions. So explaining what actions you did to overcome the situation you were in, and then what impact or results did the company benefit from you doing that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like when you meet with the friends, you need to gain the trust. So when you're doing interviews, you need to impress your managers, and then you need to handle the objections, and also mention that you can do that job. Your experience or previous, work prove that you have the ability. That is why during the interviews you have to, I'm not saying become a friend, but become someone that you can work with, right? Someone that we can partner with together to work in the same goal, same company. That's the important thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So culture is huge. You want to still come across as presentable and likable to be able to get a connection. So connection, as you said, it's really, it's a core. It's the foundation to the success of a company, the teamwork, the culture within the organization. So you want to come across that you can do that. And again, I would really recommend that you read the job description and use the words that are in there when you're explaining your strengths, your weaknesses, your situation. So if you're throwing the words around, the company words that they've already got in there, it shows that you're going to be a smooth fit, an easy transition into the workplace.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned the job description twice, right? So that is very important. You need to read it before.
You need to be prepared. Honestly, this is how you will get the interview over someone else. Because if you know the job description, if you know your CV inside and out, then the chances of you being employed will definitely outweigh someone who doesn't.
Yeah. So, but how about if the companies did not give you any job description, or maybe sometimes the hiring managers didn't read your CVs as well, right? So you don't have the job description, and the hiring managers didn't read your CVs before that. So in that case, is it quite hard to build that trust?
Honestly, I want to disagree with you. There's so many tools out there. I keep referring to LinkedIn probably because I've mastered it quite well now, but the likes of Glassdoor, Indeed, the job boards. I'm not sure what you have in your region, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. Google the same job title and have a look at different sectors, different companies, and find out what the core responsibilities are. You can easily then gauge or determine what they're looking for.
Yeah, this is extremely good idea. Yeah. So yeah, don't be bound by something, right? So there's no job description. Sometimes would be really no job description, but as Trista just give you excellent advices that go to Glassdoor, goes to whatever job boards to find out a similar job description and then tailor made it and use it so that you can explain your job to the hiring managers. That would be really good tips to impress them that you did your homework,
Exactly.
right, and research. Yeah.
Exactly. And be prepared. For example, they're probably going to ask you, what is your weakness in terms of maybe a marketing strategy? What would you find would be your weakness? So you want to make sure that when you're explaining your weakness, you can say that you have made improvements to this weakness by doing X, Y, Z, and use something that's already listed.
Yeah, exactly. This is tricky question, right? Just like I ask you what are the strengths, right? It's already written down in the CV, but I have to ask you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So thank you so much. Do you have any other questions or any things to supplementary or any useful tips to the job seekers?
Um, I think it's really important, especially in the situation that we're in now, is networking. I know that we're all stuck at
Mm.
home. We're feeling a little bit isolated. You're not usually out and about, but there are so many different platforms that you can go on, and still do digital networking. And this is how you'll be employed more easily if you have put some effort into making communications during this time. So reaching out and actually asking people how they are. So spend some time on digital platforms, getting yourself known, and make sure that your profiles are up to date and the best they can be. It's really worth the investment long term.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we get started our life is because we don't know each other last week, and then you message me, and then you leave a comments in my post. So we see that we have a similar followers, and then we are also doing something good for the LinkedIn. So that's why we got this live, and then we can learn from Trista. Thank you so much for your advice, and it really helps um, to my followers or your followers, anyone in LinkedIn or anyone's that actively seeking for jobs. So hopefully the virus thing will pass, and everything will get back to normal. But again, video interviews is really important. It's the future. So that's why you need to learn from Trista, and then learn from her tips and practice more.
Definitely practice.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have any other things to say or to summarize?
I just wanted to say thank you once again, and I guess it's really important to be calm in front of the camera, but still be confident. So if you practice with your friends, if you know what you're going to say, everything will come off really, really easily. You'll ace that interview. So good luck with expanding your own network, and definitely, I really hope we can run another session together. And feel free if your followers want to suggest some topics of conversation, more than happy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, your CV editing skills is excellent. I need to learn from you as well. Yeah, so definitely we can talk about maybe future webinars or something. Yeah,
Sure, definitely.
yeah.
We have lots of
Excited, excited. Thank you so much, Trisha.
Okay,
So thank you. Yeah,
most
thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate it. Bye
See
bye.
you.
Bye
Take care.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.